What a glorious night of European football. That was simply sensational. It was everything that we wanted. Chelsea have scored 5 goals at home to make history with 3 teenage goal scorers, and there is a symbolic victory for Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool fans have to be absolutely over the moon with what they have seen. Liverpool have thrashed Eintracht Frankfurt. Ekitike. What a moment, what a goal. The goal where he ran through on goal, all on his own, was simply spectacular. And that could be the moment, that could be the fuse, that could be the litmus test that Liverpool needed. Suddenly the fuse is lit, suddenly their run is over. It was looking at one point like it was going to be 5 defeats in a row for Liverpool, and obviously now that is not going to be the case. A brilliant victory for them. It's exactly what they needed. And I felt like, look, Chelsea beating Ajax, we were always going to beat Ajax. When you look at the lineups and you see Wout Weghorst in the team, you kind of know that there's no jeopardy. And as soon as the man was off, we were in cruise control. We absolutely battered Ajax. At one point in the Eintracht Frankfurt game, it looked like there was genuine jeopardy. It looked like Liverpool could be on their way to another humbling defeat. But they fought hard. They fought desperately, valiantly. And in the end, Liverpool claim an emphatic 5-1 victory off the back of going 1-0 down in the first half. Suddenly, they're alive. Suddenly, it's goals galore. Suddenly, Liverpool have, 5 different goal scorers on a night? 5 goals, 5 different goal scorers? I mean, that is huge. It's exactly what they needed. And a comprehensive victory is the dream for Liverpool. It's exactly what they needed because there were genuine questions being asked about them. There were genuine questions being asked about Liverpool's mettle. Do they have the minerals? Do they have the fight? I can't believe what I'm hearing, right, by the way. But people were actually having the audacity to question Arne Slot. People were saying, did Arne Slot get lucky last year? Is Arne Slot actually a little bit of snake oil salesman? Is Arne Slot a smoke and mirrors manager? Did we overestimate his contribution last year? Was it in fact Jurgen Klopp's team? I feel like going away from home in Europe, putting in a statement performance, 5 goals, 5 goal scorers. It's exactly what they needed because genuinely, I found a lot of that chat bonkers. Like Arne Slot, he's a genius. What he did last year, winning the league in the way that they did, winning the league at a canter. You know, in the end, they finished 10 points clear of Arsenal. They did it at a canter. They probably had the league won by about March. And then people suddenly, off the back of what? A 4-game losing streak, people suddenly go, not sure he's the man. Do Liverpool need to look in a different direction? People started genuinely having a conversation about Liverpool being a better team, a better option, not having Arne Slot at the helm. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? What are you talking about? None of this makes any sense. And it worked tonight. And it's something that we've been talking about. Can they play with 2 up front? Is there a world where Liverpool's best formation is 2 up front? Like Hugo Ekitike in a front 2 with Alexander Isak is terrifying. Hugo Ekitike played up front in a 2 at Frankfurt, ironically, with Omar Marmoush. They played 2 up front. Alexander Isak has played in a 2. Alexander Isak has also played out wide, so he is a gift of a striker. He is the kind of striker that will allow others to flourish around him. He is a facilitating striker. We saw him playing out wide for Newcastle. We know what he can do. So, of course, he's electric through the middle. But Ekitike and Alexander Isak together up front is a daunting proposition. And basically, the reason that doesn't work is because of Mohamed Salah. The reason that you say it doesn't work is to accommodate Mohamed Salah. Salah needs to play in that very particular position, in that channel, down the right-hand side, and therefore you can't really play 2 up front if you want to accommodate Mohamed Salah. Salah's performances haven't really been worthy. Salah's performances haven't warranted a place in the team. Now look, I find this conversation fascinating, and I really do want to hear your thoughts about this. Let me dive into the comments actually and see what you're all saying. What do you think about Mohamed Salah? Look, the first comment I've seen there is from Lewis Arkraider, who says, yes, Salah seems to be the issue. We have to keep Salah off the pitch. Keep Salah away from the team. See, this is what I cannot believe. Thank you all for your comments, by the way. Thank you for tuning in. I love having these chats, and I really appreciate you finding the time. Off the back of a pulsating night of European football, I really appreciate you joining me to dissect it all. Can I ask you, could you please like the stream? Massively helps me out. if you would be kind enough, maybe we could reach, 150 likes. If you're watching and haven't liked, please do it, because we are now going to go in deep in the conversation around Mohamed Salah. Firstly, I think it's very important that we put our cards on the table. Mohamed Salah is an icon. I would have argued that whatever the questions at Liverpool Football Club, Mohamed Salah is the answer. Well, if Mohamed Salah is not the answer, you're asking the wrong question. Salah, an icon. Salah, a genuine great of the club. Salah, a genuine great of the Premier League. How can you possibly say that Liverpool are a better team without Mohamed Salah? Think of the form that he demonstrated last year. Think about what he brought to that Liverpool team last year. When you think about his Liverpool career, in fact, you'd say that there are twin peaks, wouldn't you? You'd go the player that he was maybe 2020, and then you'd go the player that he was last year. There are like two peaks of Salah, and you can almost argue over who is the better Salah. Suddenly, a year later, we're having a conversation about Mohamed Salah's place in the team. I can't really believe it, but I wonder if there is any gravity to it. Is there any... Liverpool fans, let me know. Like, do you genuinely believe that there could be an argument for Liverpool being a better team without Mohamed Salah? And if so, have you made a mistake giving him that contract? It looked like one point that you were going to earn a huge amount of money off the back of the service that you got for his services. Like, if you can sign a player for the fee that you did when he landed at your club from Roma, if you can sign a player for that amount of money, let them go for more money, and you get basically a decades of elite level service. That is what they call in the business, excellent business. He has to be dropped. There it is. Loon for Lion has to be dropped. I'm a Liverpool fan. He has to be dropped. Anyone who dismisses Salah does so at their peril. His role is to support now, and the best support you could wish for. Yeah, I just think that Mohamed Salah is a true great. Liverpool are a better team with Mohamed Salah in it. This is what I think, by the way. But then I know this is kind of, when I say this is what I think, I mean this is what I'm conditioned to think. This is what I've thought over the years. This is the way that I viewed it. When you play Liverpool, you're terrified of Salah. Even when they had Firmino up top, even when they had Sadio Mane up top, regardless of who was leading the line for Liverpool, Mohamed Salah was the threat. He was the reason you were scared. He was the reason that you felt like you were going to lose. And I'm still not ready to believe that they're a better team without him in it. But then, Ricky Akimbo tells me straight up I'm wrong. I'm wrong because I'm backing Salah. Is that what you're saying, mate? In the first super chat of the day has landed here, by the way, from Daniel Ogwezi, who says, Salah's so bad he won't pass, he lowers our fluidity. See, this is what just baffles me. Thank you very much for your super chat there, by the way, Daniel. Really do appreciate it. See, this is what baffles me. I get Liverpool fans coming in. Oh, another super chat has landed, by the way, from the BW96. Says positive today. Brentford will be 100 times harder. I don't think it will, mate. I don't think it will. I don't think that there is a world where Liverpool going away to Brentford can be seen as being harder than going away in Europe. Going away to play Frankfurt in Europe is definitely a harder fixture. Now, look, you could maybe say the context of Brentford is harder. It's more pressurised. You know, if Liverpool had lost tonight, they'll still go through in Europe. Liverpool lose to Brentford, they probably don't win the league. So I do kind of see what you mean in that sense. And also, playing Brentford away off the back of playing away in Europe, basically, if you're playing away in Europe, then you're playing away in the league, it's always harder. So kind of conditionally it's harder, context-wise it's harder, but it's far harder going to Frankfurt expecting to win in the form that Liverpool have been in than it is going to Brentford. Like, Brentford have had a few positive results. They were quite good against us. They got a good result against Manchester United. But let us not pretend that Brentford are a good side and Liverpool are far superior. I expect Liverpool to win. And off the back of what we've seen tonight, Liverpool scoring goals for fun. Liverpool being truly brilliant. Liverpool having 5 different goal scorers away from home in Europe. Hugo Ekitike leading the line with aplomb. Both centre-halves on the score sheet. Cody Gakpo yet again. And Dominic Szoboszlai. Geezer Dom Szoboszlai, ain't he? What a player. He is a great example of a player who has elevated his performances off the back of the pressure that has landed at the club. But I do find this Salah conversation really, really fascinating. Really fascinating. Trinity in the super chat here says, love you, Rory. Cheers for cheers from California. We've gone international. What's happening, mate? We're transatlantic. But look, overall, I find it very difficult to have this conversation about Mohamed Salah, and I appreciate that I'm probably wrong, and I appreciate that I am probably conditioned simply to believe that Mohamed Salah is the answer to Liverpool's problems, even when maybe he isn't. But I'm hearing a growing amount of noise, growing noise, suggesting that Liverpool would be better off without Mohamed Salah in the team. And then you see what happened tonight. He doesn't start and Liverpool score 5 goals, free scoring, ever flowing, interchanging games. Florian Wirtz looked like a far better player without Mohamed Salah on the pitch. Hugo Ekitike looked like a far better. In fact, the team just looked so much better. And I just wonder if maybe Liverpool got it wrong. But it's going to be a long, arduous season. And I tell you what, there will be games this year when Liverpool maybe progress in Europe and they're playing a quarter-final and they've got an away game at the Nou Camp when you need Mohamed Salah. There will be a game, undoubtedly, playing against Man City. It could be a league title decider. They've got another fixture going away to Highbury, going away to the Emirates, sorry. Mohamed Salah again could be the answer. Jay, in the Super Chat, what's happening, sir? Jay says, I've loved Liverpool for 20 years. Mohamed Salah is arguably one of our greatest players, let alone in the Premier League era. Love him endlessly, but mentality, he's not there. Physicality, yes. Mentally, no. Much love, Rory. That's a very generous Super Chat and huge words. Very interesting, Jay. Jay, an ardent Liverpool fan, been a Liverpool fan for over 2 decades. He acknowledges Mohamed Salah's place in the history of the club, not just in the Premier League era. He is saying ever, which effectively means that Mohamed Salah, in his eyes, can be compared to Graham Souness, Alan Hansen, Kenny Dalglish, Roger Hunt, Ian St. John, Ray Clements. The list goes on and on and on. And Jay is mentioning there that Mohamed Salah has a place alongside those iconic names that I've just mentioned in the pantheon of great players to have worn the liver bird upon their chest. And yet he is still also acknowledging that Mohamed Salah is perhaps not right for what's going on, not right in terms of his mentality. That is very interesting indeed. Very interesting there, Jay. Thank you very much for your super chat. Daniel Mace, going off topic, says, where's a hoodie from? Penguin. A lot of my clothing, Penguin clothing. I get a lot there. Very nice stuff, in my opinion. Quadbod says, Mohamed Salah is the goat. Hugo is the kid. Oh, I see what you did there. It's like a pie. Okay, I like it. I like what you did. The 3 Hawklord, a.k.a. Hawklord, says, Salah does not deserve his place at the minute, but I hope he improves. His form is terrible. I really think Salah will be sold next summer. I mean, if his form continues in this way, I think you could be right. But equally, we would be wild to write off Mohamed Salah, wouldn't we? We would be insane to write off Mohamed Salah. What we know about Salah is that he is totally capable of pulling it out of the bag. Yet, he's had a slightly slower start to the season than we would have anticipated. There have been moments where he's looked wild, moments where he's looked reckless, moments where he's looked off the pace. But I tell you this, the next time that Chelsea play Liverpool, I'll be scared of Salah. And maybe that's the way to look at it sometimes. Sometimes when we support clubs, right, we only look at it from our perspective. And 9 times out of 10, not more than that, 99 times out of 100, 99 times out of 100, when you want the answers about a particular club, ask the fans of that club. The fans of the club know. So if you want to know the feeling around Chelsea, ask a Chelsea fan. You want to know the feeling around Arsenal, ask an Arsenal fan. You want to know the feeling around Liverpool, ask a Liverpool fan. But there is 1% of the time when maybe you don't necessarily see it for what it is. And I can tell you this now, from the outside looking in, I am still terrified of Mohamed Salah. And maybe that is an indicator of why you should keep him around, keep him in the first team, keep him in the first 11. Because he is terrifying. Gio says you can't live in the past with Salah. Front 2 needed. Very interesting. A lot of people are saying that, you know. There is now a genuine theory that Liverpool effectively need to amend their shape. Now, they have played in this particular system for ages. It's a system that has been repurposed by Arne Slot, but I think it was created by Jurgen Klopp. You know, the 3 up front. It kind of went Mane, Firmino, Salah. It then evolved into a different version of that, including players like Darwin Núñez, and it has now become the version of itself now, with Alexander Isak leading the line and probably Cody Gakpo on the other side. That three has one set of three has morphed into another set of three, but the shape has stayed the same. There is now genuine clamber to suggest that there needs to be evolution. And every team needs to evolve. Every manager needs to evolve. Every manager needs to make the best out of his squad. And perhaps now there is a world in which this could be the case. A new formation landing. I really do wonder if that is true. Gio has put something interesting forward there. The front two is what's needed. Ekitike and Isak up front, which effectively means that there is no room in the team for Mohamed Salah. Something that we really are going to have to get our teeth into in this video. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Can I ask you a massive favour? If you are watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please consider clicking subscribe now. Really does help me out. I'd love to welcome you into this community. I love the back and forth. I love discussing football with you, and I love going live like this. So please do click subscribe. I'd love to welcome you in. And then next time I go live, you'll get a notification. Going back into the super chat here. Cheers from the USA friend. We've got an international. Thank you very much there to the fern like the tree. I like the tree, fern tree. I like it. My second favourite tree of all my trees. BW96 says, this is what I meant. Brentford as a Premier League game will be harder in the player's mind. I think Salah should sit this one out too. Just not focused. That's what the BW96 says. Do you know what, BW96? I think you're onto something. The game against Brentford is going to be tough. It's going to be physical. It's going to be demanding, and it's going to take a lot out of the Liverpool players. And the reason why, on some definition of what's a harder fixture, Premier League games, for Liverpool in particular, but for everyone, Premier League games are harder than European games, primarily because they mean more. The new look European Champions League table thing means that you don't have to do particularly well. Liverpool could have lost tonight, and it wouldn't have mattered. They would have still been able to progress through. Liverpool cannot lose on the weekend. So simply by definition, the Brentford game means more. There's more jeopardy on the Brentford game. The 3 points are so vital against Brentford that therefore the Brentford game is harder. But in terms of the opposition, in terms of going to play in the Champions League in Frankfurt, it's miles away from going to play at Brentford. Brentford's an easy ground, a kind ground. You see all the flags going at Frankfurt. Frankfurt got very passionate fans, very good players. It's incomparable. Brentford's a family club in Chiswick. There's no intimidation there. Liverpool fans will dominate. It'll be like a home game. So no, I don't agree with you, dear sir. But that's the beauty of football, isn't it? It is all about opinions. And I do think that it's interesting what you've said, though, about Mohamed Salah. You said that he should sit this one out. He's not focused. A lot of Liverpool fans have been getting involved, saying that Salah's not focused. His mentality is wrong. Now, one thing that you would always say about Mohamed Salah is focus, meticulous, dedication, professionalism. And I see nothing to suggest that that isn't the case. Things they're just not falling for him. They're not going his way. He's rushing his shots. He's off form. He is off form. But these things do happen. And I'm inclined to say that he will find that form. And do you know what? Two up front is terrifying. Isak and Ekitike as a duo, terrifying. But I would still rather play against Liverpool without Salah. If Chelsea were playing Liverpool this weekend, I would hope Salah didn't play, because I'm kind of conditioned to be terrified of him. Nicholas in the super chat here says, interesting about Curtis Jones here. Slot got the system right. Curtis Jones, immense. Now, do you know what? Jones and Szoboszlai are two excellent midfielders. Excellent. And I believe that Curtis Jones has a real significant part to play. Now, look, I was talking about Liverpool very recently with my dear friend Ade Oladipo. Ade is a dedicated Liverpool fan, incredibly knowledgeable football fan. Ade and I basically agree with one another on football. You know the way that you see football. You know, you can have different opinions, but generally you see football through the same lens. Curtis Jones is a player that Ade and I completely disagree with one another. I think Curtis Jones should start for Liverpool. I think Curtis Jones, perhaps, should start for England. I think he's a brilliant player. I think what he brings particularly to that Liverpool team is worth its weight in gold. Having someone scouse in the middle who looks after the ball, who knows what it means to have a live bird upon your chest, I think it makes sense. And I think that the way that he conducts himself, we've seen I can make this point so valid. Anyone who is a Liverpool fan, this is immediately going to chime with you. Are you ready? In fact, I'm going to try and gauge it. I'm about to tell you something, right? What are we on? 280 likes. If this chimes with you, you're a Liverpool fan, and this chimes with you, like the stream, because I want to monitor it, right? You're a Liverpool fan. All I'm going to say to you is, Curtis Jones at Goodison Park. You immediately know what I'm on about, don't you? You immediately know what I'm on about. The second that it goes off in the Merseyside derby, Curtis Jones is having it with anyone in a blue shirt. Right in front of the away end. All the Liverpool fans behind Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is effectively the fan on the pitch. He's holding 4 of them back. He's having a row with every single Evertonian. That, it's worth its weight in gold. Do you remember on top of the bus? Remember on the bus? When Trent Alexander-Arnold was sort of performatively crying? And Curtis Jones is going, like, what's he doing? Doing it for the cameras. That is so scouse. That is so good. And where was it? Where was the super chat was from Nicholas. Nicholas, who said, Curtis Jones immense. Nicholas, I'll go one step further. Curtis Jones should start for Liverpool every game. I really believe it. I think he's an excellent player for you to have in your squad. Thank you for your super chat. Owen in the super chat says, I knew that I was right about Wirtz. In the Premier League, the kid is getting annihilated, but in the Champions League versus Spanish and German teams, with more open play, his technical play will shine more. Do you know what's interesting here, Owen? And I thank you for your super chat. It's an interesting point that you've raised. But I would disagree a little bit with what you've said. Am I on my own here, or does anyone agree with this? I think that Florian Wirtz has been totally and utterly hung out to dry by people who talk about football. Now, look, I appreciate on some level it has. I've just seen the results, by the way. The results about Curtis Jones. 75% of this chat think Curtis Jones should start. See, that is why you flex your analytical football muscle. You know football. Yes! I completely agree. And I will be sending that screenshot to Adeola Depot the second that we finish this live. Thank you very much for that. Now, going back into what we were talking about there. What was I on about? Oh, right. Yeah, what was I? Well, I forget what I was on about now. Sorry, I've lost my super chat. Where was I? Florian Wirtz. Right. I think Florian Wirtz has been done a major mischief. I think people... Look, he hasn't lived up to the expectation, and he certainly hasn't lived up to the price tag. But people are being incredibly early with their assessment. Like Florian Wirtz, what we have seen him do in very small moments and not enough is truly exceptional. We have seen the artistry. We have seen the craft. We have seen the vision. We have seen the Dennis Bergkamp-like silk. We have seen it. We haven't seen it enough. We haven't seen it with its end product. But just think about it. If Mohamed Salah had scored a couple of seconds off the back of the restart at Stamford Bridge, and let's face it, he should have scored, we would be talking about Florian Wirtz having not only one of the best assist this season. It would be the best assist this season, no doubt. Nobody else is going to pirouette a pass into Mohamed Salah's pathway that puts it on a plate for Salah at Stamford Bridge. And it would not only be the most beautiful assist, the most beautifully crafted assist, the most amount of ingenuity in an assist, but it could also be one of the most important. Salah scores there, Liverpool potentially win the game, this blip doesn't happen, Chelsea lose. Like, the ramifications of that assist landing in the back of the net would be absolutely massive. And I saw it against Manchester United. Very tidy, very creative, weight of pass exceptional, vision exceptional, and it's just not clicking. But I feel like people are writing him off in such an incorrect way. Like, he's been good. He's been good. It hasn't gone as well as it should have done. It certainly hasn't lived up to the money. But I'm not ready to admit that he hasn't been good. And some of those moves have been excellent. They just haven't resulted in a goal. But I think that you are right. Suggesting that it's working more in Europe than it is domestically, it does happen with some players. You know, the famous one is Juan Sebastian Veron, isn't it? Juan Sebastian Veron at Manchester United looked like an excellent player in Europe. And Florian Wirtz is obviously used to playing against German opposition. He obviously knows what it's like. But I believe that the second that he finds his feet in the Premier League, I honestly believe that Florian Wirtz is a winning signing. I honestly believe that he will work out. I honestly do. And people like to clip me up. People like to suggest that my predictions can be wrong, which of course they can. But occasionally I get one right as well. I told you Graham Potter would be a terrible West Ham manager, didn't I? I told you Nottingham Forest were going to have a terrible season, didn't I? You know, occasionally I do get them right. And my prediction on this, and I stand firm on it, Florian Wirtz will be a good player for Liverpool, no doubt. Florian Wirtz will win a league title at Liverpool, no doubt. Florian Wirtz will be integral to a league title at Liverpool. Florian Wirtz will win, I'll say it. Florian Wirtz will win a European Cup at Liverpool. I don't even think it's controversial to say that. There is no doubt in my mind that he will shine. Time will tell. Time will tell. We're going back into the super chat here. Thank you to everybody for getting involved, by the way. GOZ says, moving forward, Ekitike has to start every game. Ekitike's looked blinding, hasn't he? He's looked such a good player. He's looked so suited to the league, so hungry, so brilliant at finishing. Do you know when I think a player is a really good player? If you're a forward and you go through on goal and you just hit the back of the net, it's... when there's almost a routine to it. So when Ekitike bursts through, picks the ball up in his own half, John Spencer in Vienna-like. Now, that reference is only going to be picked up by very, very few of you. But if you are approximately my age, and I say John Spencer in Vienna, and you've got good football knowledge, you'll know exactly what I mean. Hugo Ekitike today in Frankfurt was John Spencer in Vienna. And the second that he picked the ball up in his own half, charges through, you're like, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that he's going to score. And do you know what that means? That is so perfect for a footballer. Like, I guarantee you this. I imagine that if you are a Liverpool fan, in fact, even if you're not a Liverpool fan, simply if you're watching a Liverpool game tonight, the second that he broke through, the second that he opened up his stride, the second that he cut across the defender in the most beautiful way. Do you know who used to do that so well? Thierry Henry. You basically all you do is push the ball across the defender. You push the ball across the defender. It opens up the goal for you. It means the defender is completely taken out of the game. It means that if the defender touches you, you are guaranteed a sending off. And you basically know that he can't touch you, and he knows he can't touch you. And Thierry Henry basically made a career out of it. So cleverly, pick up the ball, make it into space, get in front of the defender, cut across them. They then have to break. They have to get out of your way. You know when you see a defender running back and they jump and try and sort of jump backwards when they're running forwards? That is exactly what Ekitike did today. Cut across, Thierry Henry-like, and then non-negotiable. Where if you press pause on the telly, you go, what's going to happen here? Everyone goes, goal. You ask 100 people out of 100 on Family Fortunes, Les Dennis, what's going to happen in this moment here? Everyone says goal. There is no doubt that Ekitike is going to score. And I do agree with you that Ekitike needs to be in the starting lineup. And this is where I think Arne Slot is going to show his brilliance. Ekitike has to start. Dom Szoboszlai has to start. In my opinion, Curtis Jones has to start. Florian Wirtz probably has to start. And in order to accommodate those players, what you're going to have to do is come up with a new formation. Because the Jurgen Klopp template, the Jurgen Klopp blitzkrieg football, doesn't quite suit that approach. Doesn't quite work for that approach. So it is very, very interesting. And I imagine that what we will see very soon, well, against Brentford even, we could see a new look Liverpool, a new vision of Liverpool, a new version of Liverpool. Going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. It really is. I'm going back into the Super Chat, and it's Nate Rago, who says, Arne Slot, the governor. Yeah, I mean, I think he's still allowed to be. I think he's still allowed to be named that. At the moment, though, do you know who I think the governor is at the moment? Oliver Glasner. But Arne Slot was most certainly the governor. There's only room for one governor around here. It's like there's only room for one governor in every situation. And I think that Arne Slot he's a champion, isn't he? He's a reigning champion. So you're right. On some definition, he's still the governor. Jay says it's been a hard summer. New players, a new system. Not to mention losing Jota, no doubt. No wonder the new players are struggling to fit in when our core has gone through so much. Just a thought. Yeah, of course. Of course it's been an agonising summer for Liverpool. The pain that Liverpool squad, that Liverpool dressing room, that city, that cop, that entire institution must be going through on a day-to-day basis. It's unfathomable to me. But trying to just look at it through the lens of football, I feel like Slot today has kind of got it right. He's kind of got it right. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it all pans out against Brentford. But you are, of course, it's a great comment there from Jay. You are absolutely right. Going back into the super chat now, MMM says, they've changed formation for the first time. Start Salah in this setup and watch him run riot. Not just bring him on when the game winds down. The problem is, MMM, where does he play? Where does Salah play in this exact formation? Like, Liverpool effectively today played a 4-4-2. You can't really play Salah in a 4-4-2, can you? What do you mean? Just sort of in front of Frimpong? In front of Frimpong, kind of in the space that Wirtz was occupying today. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I feel like with Frimpong, Salah, and Alexander Isak as the nominal centre forward, all running the same channel, I'm not sure that works in the way that you do. Do you know what? Do you know what though? Maybe. So what are you thinking? You're thinking that channel would effectively go Frimpong, Salah, Isak. Feels like a lot of people are going to be getting in each other's space there. Because when Isak pulls wide, he's relying on... Isak pulls wide, Florian Wirtz at the moment kind of goes inside. Mohamed Salah doesn't really want to go inside like that. And I'm not sure the one flaw in Salah's game is the techie on the ball, running into, not running it down the channel, running into space. Look, maybe it could work. I've never really thought about him playing that position. It feels... Do you know why it feels quite drastic to the MMM? The reason it feels quite drastic is because effectively you were asking a player in their 30s who has 2 years left on a contract to kind of redefine himself and his position in an attacking sense. But then I suppose that's what Wayne Rooney did, that's what Ryan Giggs did, that's what Frank Lampard did, that's what Steven Gerrard did. So maybe you are right. It's an interesting shout. What do you think? Could Salah play in a four-man midfield effectively with Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike in front? The problem is, it's such an attacking team if you do that. Like, where is the defensive cover? You're going to have Frimpong at the back with Mohamed Salah, with Isak, with Ekitike, with, Gakpo. The only two midfielders that are even minorly interested in defending are Szoboszlai and Jones, or Szoboszlai and Gravenberch. Yeah, you'd need another man in there. It would need to be a three-man midfield then. It's just too attacking. Because remember, Frimpong is like an attacker. I mean, Robertson likes an overlap, or Kirke's like, no, mate, this is too gung-ho. You can't. It's not going to work. You got to be braver. You can't just put all the players. You can't just put all your best players in. Interesting words from the MMM there, but no, I'm not having it. Jason Lucas in the super chat says, at the end of the game, all the players were trying to get Mohamed Salah his goal. That should tell you all you need to know. Well, it tells you that the camaraderie and the team spirit and the love for Mohamed Salah is there, but I'm not sure that was ever in doubt, was it? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was ever in doubt, Jason. I mean, unless I've missed something, there's no doubt that Mohamed Salah is very popular at Liverpool, popular in the camp, and the true icon of the club. So you can understand why they were trying to get him a goal. It would also do them the world of good. It's a great situation for Liverpool if Mohamed Salah is firing. Makes Liverpool a far more daunting proposition if Mohamed Salah is firing. But the beauty of Salah is he will start firing. Like, there's no doubt that he will start firing. Do you know how we know? Because history teaches us. History has taught us that Mohamed Salah will ultimately start firing and start firing soon. It's just what he does. We have year after year after year of data that demonstrate to us quite how brilliant and quite how much of a guarantee Mohamed Salah is. So I pretty much feel like it will come. But you are correct. I'm going to go back into the super chat here, and we are going to see what the Alpha Adnan says. Says his form is off. Used to happen a lot in the earlier years, but back then Mane picked up the slack. At the moment, there are more deserving players that should start. Do you know what, Alpha? That is the kind of comment that we've seen a lot of. That is the kind of comment that does suggest that that Liverpool fans are quite happy for him to be dropped. Maybe dropped is a harsh word and it has negative connotations, but maybe we mean rotated. But I think Alpha's perspective on that his form drops, there isn't anybody to pick up the slack this time because he is the statesman. There are more deserving players of a place in the team. I think that is totally fair enough. Owen agrees. Owen says Salah has to be benched to set a standard. Pack the midfield with Curtis, Jones and Szoboszlai, dominate possession and be more solid defensively. Sometimes simple things are the most effective. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, Owen, I'm inclined to agree that Liverpool, because of their porous nature of conceding goals, maybe they'd be better off having a midfield three of Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Jones, and then just let Ekitike and Salah, Ekitike and Isak play as a two. Ekitike and Isak play as a two, with Florian Wirtz behind, helping out the midfield. It could be a four-man midfield when you're out of possession. You basically say to Ekitike and Isak, go and score the goals. You go and score the goals. You ask Wirtz to create them, but Wirtz would have to do a shift when out of possession. And then it's up to Gravenberch and Curtis Jones and Dom Szoboszlai to protect that back line, which is the Achilles heel at Liverpool at the moment. With Alisson, it's just a very tricky time. So protecting that back line should be the focus. But I think we're kind of onto something. I basically think Curtis Jones should be starting in a three-man midfield with Gravenberch and Szoboszlai. And then I think the three up front should be more central, but Wirtz central behind a front two of Ekitike and Isak. I think I've just cracked it. Arna son, give me a ring. I think we've just cracked it. Where are we up to? We're up to Agrim. What's happening? Agrim says Salah has fewer successful dribbles than Javi Garcia this season, and one of them is a goalkeeper. Please don't let the stats. Please don't let stats cloud your judgment of what Mohamed Salah is, what he represents, what he's done in the game, and what he will still do in the game. At your peril, write off Mohamed Salah. That is all I can say on that front. I would be prepared to take a bet with anyone that Mohamed Salah has a defining moment for Liverpool this season. If Liverpool win the league, the defining moment will come against Arsenal at Highbury. Salah scores a winner. If Liverpool win the Champions League, the defining moment will come away at the Nou Camp. Salah scores the winner. I'm still not ready to say that Salah doesn't have a big moment for Liverpool this season. And no stat, Agrim, no stat regarding goalkeepers' dribbling ability will change my persuasion on that. The ESG Soccer says Ekitike best summer signing. What? In the league? I don't believe you. Ekitike best summer signing. Salah needs his head fixed. Father Time gets us all. He's about to get the super sub role. Wirtz is the boy. Wirtz is the boy. Not yet, but he will be. He definitely will be. There's no doubt in my mind that he most definitely will come good. But at the moment, Ekitike is Liverpool's best signing. He is one of the Premier League's best signings, but he is not the Premier League's best signing. The Groomery says, why did Estevao take the second penalty? I mean, I think there was a thing, wasn't there? Enzo Fernandez, that's the game I was watching. Enzo Fernandez has gone, you took it, you won it, you take it. And then he pinged it into the top corner because he is a genuine superstar. Alejandro says, do you trust Enzo Fernandez? Not really. I mean, I don't rate him particularly highly. No, not really. I feel like we should have a better midfield. I think Caicedo is the governor, and I think Enzo Fernandez is all right. But I think Romeo Lavia, if I were picking the team, Lavia is a better player than Enzo Fernandez, in my opinion. This has been emotional. Can I ask you a massive favour before you go? Please click subscribe. If anybody is watching this and you haven't subscribed, and you've even enjoyed this video 1%, could you drop a like and click subscribe? Really helps me out. I'd love to welcome you into this community. It would be incredibly kind of you to click subscribe. Go on. No skin off your nose, and really does help me out. Thank you all so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Before you go, drop a like on the stream, and I will see you all in a bit. Ta-da!